Hello and welcome to the Sleepy Geographer channel. I'm so glad you found your way here. However your day has been, whatever noises have filled it, the chatter, the alerts, the constant hum of the world, you can let them all soften now. There's nothing you need to do but rest. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body grow heavy. Because tonight we aren't just listening to sounds. We're going to understand them. We'll drift to the very origin of noise, to the silent, vibrational beginning of everything we hear. Some of what you hear tonight may spark a quiet curiosity, or it may simply be a gentle tide of words to carry you off to sleep. If these calm explorations help you unwind, consider liking or subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too. One sleepy soul at a time. Now let's begin. Let's discover what sound is before there is a melody or a voice or the crash of a wave. There is a vibration, a tiny fundamental disturbance. This is where sound begins. Not in your ear, but out in the world, in the quiet physical dance of matter. Imagine the surface of a perfectly still pond. It is silent, smooth, a sheet of glass. Now drop a single tiny pebble into its center. What happens? A ripple expands. A perfect circular wave travels outward, while the water itself does not travel to the edge. It merely moves up and down, transferring energy from one molecule to the next. This is the essence of sound. Sound is a pressure wave, a gentle, rhythmic pushing and pulling. When you speak, your vocal cords vibrate. When a leaf falls, it disturbs the air. These vibrations push the air molecules closest to them, compressing them together. Those molecules then push the ones next to them and so on, creating a wave of compression that radiates outwards. But right behind that squeeze, the molecules relax and spread apart again, creating a region of low pressure called a rarefaction. So a sound wave is really a chain reaction, a journey of a squeeze and a stretch, moving through the air all the way to your ear. It is an invisible energy passing through the world like a rumor through a crowd. This is why sound cannot travel in a vacuum, in the empty silence of space. There are no molecules to bump, no air to compress. The most violent explosion in the cosmos would happen in utter, complete silence. Sound needs a medium, a substance to carry its message. It is a social phenomenon requiring company. It travels through air, of course, but also through water, and even through the solid desk beneath your elbows. When you hear a train coming by, putting your ear to the rail, you are listening to the sound traveling through steel, far faster and clearer than it could ever move through the shifting air. But there is more to this wave than just its travel. It has a character, a personality defined by its shape. Think of the ripple on the pond again. The distance between one crest of a wave and the next is called the wavelength. And the number of those crests that pass by a single point every second is the frequency. We perceive frequency as pitch. A high frequency, with waves cresting rapidly one after the other, sounds like a chirping bird or a ringing phone. A low frequency with long, lazy waves sounds like a distant thunder or the hum of a deep cello. The height of the wave, how far it rises and falls from its calm center, is its amplitude. This is what we perceive as volume. A powerful shout creates tall, intense waves, a large amplitude. A whisper creates tiny, gentle ripples, a small amplitude. So the world of sound, from a symphony to a sigh, is built from these two simple properties: the speed of the wobble and the size of the wobble, all the sounds that fill your life. The music that moves you, the voice of a loved one, the rustle of leaves signaling a change in season. They are all just these intricate, complex patterns of compressed and rarefied air. They are all physics, a beautiful, delicate physics that your ear has learned to translate into the rich tapestry of your auditory world. And as you rest here now, your own body is making sounds. The quiet rush of blood in your ears, the soft sigh of your breath. Tiny, rhythmic vibrations that are part of the same physical universe as the wind and the ocean. You are not separate from this phenomenon. You are a part of it, a source of gentle waves in the quiet of the room. So let the physics of it all lull you. Let your mind drift on these simple, elegant waves of energy. There is no need to hold on to the details. Just the gentle understanding that the world is full of invisible motions, of pushes and pulls, of rhythms and vibrations, and that you are floating peacefully, right in the middle of it all. In the quiet of a forest, you see the flash of lightning. And then you wait. The thunder follows, rumbling in the distance, arriving late to its own event. This space between the light and the sound is a lesson in patience, and in the gentle, limited speed of sound itself. Sound is not instantaneous. It is a traveller, and like all travellers, it takes its time. Its speed is not a constant, but a changing rhythm, a pace set entirely by the world it moves through. It is a patient explorer, and its journey is different through air, through water, and through the very ground beneath our feet. Through the air that surrounds us, at a comfortable room temperature, sound travels at about 343 meters per second. That is 1,025 feet per second, or 767 miles per hour. It seems fast, doesn't it? In our daily lives, it feels immediate. A voice from across the room reaches us in a fraction of a moment. But on the scale of a storm, we notice the delay. For every 5 seconds that pass between the lightning and the thunder, the storm is about 1 mile away. Sound is making its journey 1 leisurely mile at a time, while light, the impatient child, has already arrived. But why this specific speed? Why not faster or slower? The answer lies in the nature of the air itself. Sound moves by molecules bumping into each other. How easily they can do this depends on how close they are and how much energy they have. In warmer air, molecules are buzzing with energy, moving faster and more excitedly. They can transmit that vibrational energy, the sound, to their neighbors more quickly. So on a hot summer day, sound actually travels a little faster than on a cold, still winter morning. The very temperature of the world changes the pace of its whispers. Now let us follow sound on a different journey. Let us descend beneath the waves into the deep, blue silence of the ocean. Here, the rules change. Water is a denser medium than air. Its molecules are packed much closer together. Imagine trying to pass a message through a crowd where people are standing shoulder to shoulder compared to a crowd where they are spaced far apart. In the dense crowd, the message travels faster, as one person can immediately whisper to the next. In water, sound doesn't just travel a little faster. It races, it moves at about 1,480 meters per second. That is over 4 times faster than in air. A sound that would take 10 seconds to travel 2 miles through the air would cover over 8 miles in the same time underwater. This is the world of the whale, whose low, mournful songs can spiral through the ocean basins for thousands of miles, connecting continents with their slow, deep calls. Their conversations are built on this accelerated physics, a secret, high-speed network in the seeming stillness of the deep. But there is a realm where sound travels faster still. A solid object, like a piece of iron or a long steel train track, is an even more efficient messenger. The atoms in a solid are locked into a rigid structure bound tightly together in a crystalline lattice. A vibration, a sound, can pass through this organized network with astonishing efficiency. In steel, sound can travel at about 5,100 meters per second. That is nearly 15 times faster than through air. This is why ancient cultures would press their ears to the ground to hear distant hoofbeats long before the sound arrived through the air. It's why in an old apartment building you can hear the vibrations of a neighbor's footsteps through the solid structure, a direct transmission of energy. The solid earth itself is the finest conductor of sound we commonly know. So, we have our 3 states, the leisurely traveler through gas, the swift swimmer through liquid, and the racing messenger through solid. But there is one more place for sound to go, upward. As we rise through the atmosphere, the air grows thinner. There are fewer and fewer molecules to carry the vibration. the message struggles to be passed along. In the near vacuum of outer space, the molecules are so desperately far apart that a vibration simply cannot sustain itself. It sputters and dies, unable to find a next ear to whisper to. Space is the great silencer, the realm of perfect soundless physics, where the grandest cosmic events colliding galaxies, exploding stars, unfold in an awe-inspiring, profound silence. It is a beautiful thing to consider as you lie here in the quiet. The world around you is not silent at all. It is filled with these invisible travelers moving at different speeds, through different materials. The hum of a car engine reaches you slowly through the air, while the vibration of its tires on the road may reach you faster through the very structure of your home. It is a symphony conducted at different tempos, all happening at once, just beneath the surface of your awareness. So let this knowledge slow your own thoughts. There is no rush. Just like sound moving through the cool night air, you too can take your time. There is a rhythm to everything, a natural speed at which things travel. Your breath, your heartbeat, your drifting thoughts. They are all moving at the perfect, peaceful pace for rest. Let the slow journey of distant sounds cradle you. The world is speaking, and it is in no hurry to be heard. You can simply listen and drift and sleep. In the vast spectrum of vibration that fills our world, from the trembling of the earth to the hum of the universe, we inhabit a single, quiet room. A room with walls made not of stone, but of physics and biology. This room is our hearing. It is a beautiful, limited space, and it defines the entire orchestra of our auditory lives. We often think of hearing as an on and off switch. Either we hear something or we don't. But the truth is far more poetic. Our hearing is a window, and it only looks out onto a specific part of the sonic garden. There is a whole world of sound happening just beyond the glass, vibrations that are too slow or too fast for our ears to translate into sensation. The boundaries of this window are measured in hertz, which is simply the number of vibrations per second. And our human room, our window, stretches from a low, deep threshold of about 20 hertz to a high, piercing ceiling of about 20,000 hertz. From 20 to 20,000, everything we will ever hear, a symphony, a loved one's voice, the rain on the roof, exists between these two numbers. Let's walk to the lower wall first, the domain of 20 hertz. This is the land of the rumble. The sound of a massive earthquake grumbling deep within the planet, a sound you are more likely to feel in your bones than hear with your ears. It is the vocalization of a blue whale, a call so low and powerful it can travel across entire oceans. At this frequency, the waves are long and lazy, each one taking a significant amount of time to pass by. When you stand near a large subwoofer and feel your chest cavity resonate, you are brushing up against this lower wall. It is a sound that is almost a physical force, a pressure that massages the body. For some, this is the threshold of hearing. For others, it has already crossed into the realm of pure vibration. It is the border between sound and feeling. Now let us drift to the upper wall, the realm of 20,000 hertz. This is the world of the shrill and the tiny. The piercing squeak of a bat navigating the darkness, using sound as its eyes. The high-frequency chatter of dolphins, a complex language we can only observe from the outside. At this frequency, the waves are frantic, countless oscillations packed into every single second. It is a busy, energetic, and microscopic world. As children, many of us could hear close to this ceiling. You might remember a television producing a high-pitched whine that adults seemed oblivious to, but this ability is fragile. With age or exposure to loud noises, this upper ceiling slowly, silently lowers. The window of our hearing narrows and those highest frequencies fade away forever, like a color gradually leaving our perception. But why do these walls exist? Why can't we hear the steady, slow vibration of a mountain or the secret, high-pitched conversations of insects? The answer lies in the magnificent but limited machinery of our ears. The eardrum, the tiny bones of the middle ear, and most importantly, the spiral-shaped cochlea. The cochlea is lined with thousands of tiny hair cells, each one tuned to respond to a specific frequency. Imagine a grand piano with strings of different lengths. The long, heavy strings on the left vibrate slowly for low notes. The short, tight strings on the right vibrate rapidly for high notes.
Your inner ear is like that piano.
The hair cells at the wide, floppy base of the cochlea resonate with high frequencies. The hair cells at the narrow, stiff apex resonate with low frequencies. A sound wave enters and travels through this fluid-filled spiral until it finds the specific place that is tuned to its pitch, causing those specific hairs to dance. And when they dance, they send a signal to your brain, a sound. But this piano has a finite number of keys. The strings can only be so long or so short. There are no strings built to respond to the immensely slow vibration of 5 Hz, or the impossibly fast one of 50,000 Hz. They simply don't set the fluid in motion in a way that can stir those specific hairs. So those sounds pass through us unnoticed.
A silent symphony, always playing. This is not a failing. It is a definition.
It is what makes our soundscape manageable, beautiful, and ours. We are not designed to hear the constant, deafening roar of every molecular collision or the screaming pitch of atomic motion. Our biological room is a sanctuary, filtering the chaos of the physical world into a curated collection of meaningful vibrations. So, as you lie here in the silence, know that it is not truly silent. The world is pulsing with sounds you cannot hear. The dog sleeping at the foot of your bed may be dreaming to a frequency just beyond your wall. The wind outside is carrying conversations of creatures you will never perceive, and that is perfectly all right. You are safe inside your room of sound. The low rumble of your own heartbeat, the soft sigh of your breath, these are the gentle vibrations that matter now.
Let the limits of your hearing be a comfort.
There is a whole universe of noise that you are blessedly protected from. There is no need to strain, no need to listen for anything at all. Just rest within your own peaceful auditory space, where the only sound that needs to exist is the quiet rhythm of you drifting off to sleep. This is the story of a journey, the journey of a sound wave from the outer world to the inner world of your mind. It is a pilgrimage that begins with a simple funnel and ends with a symphony of electricity and perception. The journey starts at the pinna, the part of the ear we see. That delicate folded shell of cartilage is not just for decoration. It is a collector, a catcher of whispers. Its intricate curves are designed to gather the scattered pressure waves around us and funnel them inward down a short, dark canal. This canal is a sacred passage, and it leads to a delicate, taut membrane no wider than a pencil eraser, the eardrum. When the traveling sound wave finally arrives here, it does the only thing it can. It pushes. It presses against this tiny, sensitive drumhead, causing it to vibrate in perfect mimicry of the wave itself. A gentle breeze creates a soft sway. A crashing wave makes it tremble. This is the moment sound makes first contact. The first time the outer world physically touches our inner world, setting a drum beating in the dark. And on the other side of this drum, in the silent, air-filled chamber of the middle ear, waits the smallest bone structure in the human body. 3 tiny bones known since ancient times as the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup, for that is precisely what they resemble. They are a perfect levered bridge. The eardrum's vibrations set the hammer tapping, which taps the anvil, which rocks the stirrup. Their job is one of amplification. The stirrup, the final bone in this chain, is pressed against another membrane, the oval window, which is the entrance to the true inner sanctum. The force is concentrated here, transformed from a gentle push on the large eardrum into a powerful, focused, piston-like motion on the much smaller oval window. The sound has been given a key, and now it turns the lock. The door opens into a world of liquid. This is the cochlea, a spiral-shaped chamber that looks like a tiny, petrified seashell filled with fluid. As the stirrup pushes and pulls on the oval window, it sends ripples through this inner ocean. And floating within this fluid is the true organ of hearing, the organ of Corti. It is a carpet, a lush, living carpet of thousands upon thousands of microscopic hair cells. These are not like the hairs on your head. They are intricate, delicate sensors, each with a tiny, hair-like projection on top called a stereocilium. As the fluid waves travel through the coiled chambers of the cochlea, they cause this carpet of hair cells to sway, like seagrass dancing in a gentle underwater current. But here lies the most beautiful part. The cochlea is tonotopic. This means that different parts of the spiral are tuned to different frequencies. The hair cells near the base dance to high-pitched frequencies, while those at the very tip of the spiral sway to the deepest, lowest notes. A high violin note will make one specific patch of grass sway. The low thump of a drum will make another. Each sound you hear has its own dedicated patch of dancers in this silent, liquid ballroom. And as they sway, they perform their final act of magic. Their movement triggers an electrical signal, a tiny silent spark. This is the moment of transfiguration. The physical, mechanical energy of the sound wave, the push, the rock, the ripple, is converted into a pure electrochemical message. The sound has become a thought. Now the journey enters its final, most mysterious phase. These electrical whispers travel along the auditory nerve, a bundled cable of thousands of individual fibers, each carrying its own part of the message. They race into the dark vault of the skull to the brainstem, and then upward to the auditory cortex of the brain. Here, in the humming quiet of your mind, the brain performs its final miracle. It takes these disparate electrical signals, the pitch from one set of hairs, the volume from another, the timing differences between your two ears, and weaves them back together. It stitches this complex tapestry into a coherent whole. It is here that the signal is decoded from mere data into the rich, layered experience of sound. It is here that a pattern of sparks becomes your mother's voice, becomes your favorite song, becomes the comforting sound of rain. So the sound that began as a vibration in the air ends as a feeling in your soul. It is a journey of transformation from physics to mechanics, to hydraulics to electricity, and finally to perception. And as you rest here now, this entire magnificent system is still at work, listening to the quiet, the hum of the air, the beat of your own heart. It is a system that asks for nothing, that works tirelessly to connect you to your world, so you can let it rest now. You can release the effort of listening. There is no sound you need to decode, no message you need to understand. Let the tiny bones grow still. Let the seagrass in the cochlea settle into a gentle, unmoving peace. Your brain can stop its weaving and simply drift. The anatomy of hearing has done its work for the day. Now it is time for the anatomy of sleep. Let the silence be the only sound you perceive, a soft, dark blanket for your mind. Good night. In the beginning, before cities, before music, before language, there was the sound of the world itself, a pure, unorchestrated symphony that has been playing for billions of years. This is the original soundscape, the one our ears were shaped by, and the one that still speaks to a deep, ancient part of our being. Tonight, let's close our eyes and take a slow, quiet walk through the acoustic tapestry of the natural world. Let's begin in a forest, not at noon, but in the quiet hour of dawn. The first sound you might notice is not a sound at all, but a feeling, the press of silence. And then a single bird tentatively breaks it, a chirp, clear and questioning. Then another answers. Soon, the air is filled with a layered conversation, a chorus of tweets, warbles, and coos, each species occupying its own acoustic niche, its own frequency so as not to be drowned out. Beneath this, a more constant rhythm, the rustle of leaves in a gentle wind. It is not a single sound, but a million tiny whispers, the sound of friction between leaf and air, a soft, shushing static that has calmed human hearts for millennia. It is the sound of the forest breathing. Now let's follow the sound of water, a stream trickling over smooth, mossy stones. This is a sound of perpetual motion, of endless, gentle percussion. The water gurgles and plinks, a random, soothing pattern that psychologists call stochastic resonance, a fancy term for a sound that is unpredictable enough to be interesting, but constant enough to be calming. It masks sharper, more jarring noises, allowing the nervous system to relax. This is why recordings of babbling brooks are so universally used for sleep. They are an auditory blanket woven by physics itself. As the stream widens into a river and meets the air, we encounter rain. The sound of rain is a masterpiece of texture. On leaves, it is a soft, muffled patter.
On a still lake, it is 1,000 tiny pinpricks, a sizzle.
On the hard, dry ground of a summer path, it is a percussive drumming that releases the scent of petrichor, the earthy perfume of rain on dry soil. The sound of a heavy rain on a rooftop is one of the most profound lullabies known to us. A white noise that tells the primal brain, the hunt is cancelled, the fields are watered. It is time to rest in the cave. But nature's symphony is not always gentle. It has its crescendos. The crash of ocean waves is one of the most powerful sounds on Earth. It begins as a low, building rumble, a gathering of energy, until it culminates in a great, roaring crash as the wave collapses upon itself. Then the hissing retreat as the water pulls billions of pebbles and sand grains back into the sea. This cycle, the build, the crash, the sigh, is a primordial rhythm. It is the heartbeat of the planet, a sound so vast and rhythmic that we can feel our own internal rhythms. Our breath and our heartbeat begin to synchronize with its timeless pull. Venture deeper, and we find more subtle instruments. The deep, resonant croak of a bullfrog in a pond, a sound that seems to vibrate from the very mud. The hypnotic, rhythmic chirping of crickets on a summer night. Their chorus is not random chaos. Each cricket adjusts its chirp in relation to its neighbors, creating a synchronized, pulsating blanket of sound that defines the warm, dark hours. It is the sound of life itself, persistent and cyclical. And then there are the sounds we can barely hear or cannot hear at all. The ultrasonic clicks of bats painting a sound picture of the night. The low-frequency infrasound rumbles produced by thunderstorms or distant avalanches, sounds too low for our ears, but that we can sometimes feel as a sense of awe or unease. There is the slow, grinding groan of a glacier as it inches forward, a sound of geological time, deep and patient. And the one we've already met, the song of the blue whale, a low-frequency call that can travel for 10,000 miles through the dark, cold waters, a deep, lonely, and beautiful note held in the planet's largest heart. These are the sounds that shaped us. The steady rhythms of the natural world are a form of acoustic grounding. They remind us that there is a world beyond our worries, a world that operates on a scale of seconds, seasons, and epochs, a world that is not in a hurry. So, as you lie here in the silence of your room, know that this great natural symphony is still playing. The wind is still rustling the leaves in a forest somewhere. The waves are still crashing on a distant shore. The rain is still falling on a quiet lake. You are not separate from this. Your breathing is part of this rhythm. Your heartbeat is a gentle drum in this vast, natural orchestra. There is no need to seek out these sounds tonight. Simply know they are there, a constant, calming presence. Let your own body become a part of this natural soundscape. Let your breath be the wind. Let your heartbeat be the gentle, distant drum. And let the silence in your mind become the deep, peaceful soil from which all these sounds grow. Rest now within the great, sleeping world. You are home. As we leave the rustling forests and the crashing waves of earth, let us drift now to the most silent place we can imagine. A silence so absolute, so profound, that it becomes a presence in itself. We are floating now, untethered, into the velvet black of space. We have all seen the films. The roaring engines of starships, the thunderous explosions of alien battles, the scream of lasers cutting through the void. It is dramatic, it is exciting, and it is a complete fiction. The truth is far more magnificent and far more quiet. In space there is no sound.
None at all.
It is the universe's greatest library, a cathedral of perfect, unbroken silence. Why? The answer brings us back to the very first principle of sound, the one we started with. Sound is a traveler. It needs a medium.
A substance, a chain of molecules to pass its energy along, one to the next.
It requires a crowd through which to pass the message, but space is, for the most part, a vacuum.
An almost perfect emptiness.
The molecules of gas out there are so incredibly desperately far apart that they are like a single grain of sand scattered across an entire empty beach. A sound wave trying to propagate has nothing to push.
It begins and then it simply stops. It has no one to whisper to.
The vibration begins and meets only nothingness. It is a dancer with no floor, a singer with no air. This is the fundamental difference between light and sound. Light, being electromagnetic radiation, does not need a medium. It can travel perfectly well through the void. It crosses the cosmos effortlessly, bringing us the images of stars and galaxies from billions of years ago. But their voices are left behind. We see the brilliant, silent flash of a supernova in a distant galaxy, but we hear nothing. The most violent, energy-releasing event since the Big Bang itself. And it happens in utter, complete silence. Imagine, for a moment, that you were floating, safely suited, near two colliding galaxies. What would you hear?
Your own breath.
The thump of your own heart. The internal workings of your own body. But from the cosmic dance before you, stars being born, worlds being shattered, black holes merging, you would hear nothing. You would see a ballet of unimaginable violence and beauty playing out before your eyes in perfect, breathtaking silence. The gravitational waves from such an event would ripple through the very fabric of space-time, but they would pass through you without a whisper, a tremor in the cosmos that your ears are not built to hear. This silence is not a barren emptiness. It is a different kind of fullness. It is the silence of pure physics, the quiet hum of the universe operating on its most fundamental levels. Without the clutter of sound, other senses, other realizations can come to the fore. The sheer scale of the cosmos becomes more apparent. The slow, patient dance of orbital mechanics feels more graceful. The stars are not noisy, flaming beasts. They are quiet, steady fusion reactors burning in peaceful isolation for billions of years. This cosmic silence is also a protective blanket. If sound could travel through space, the universe would be a cacophony of unimaginable noise. The combined roar of every star, every solar flare, every asteroid impact on every moon would create a constant, deafening scream that would have long since sterilized the cosmos of life. The silence is what allows for quiet worlds, for delicate ears, for the gentle evolution of creatures who can appreciate the whisper of a leaf. So, as you lie there in the quiet of your room, consider that the silence you are enjoying is a tiny, earthly echo of the great cosmic silence. The space between the sounds in your room is filled with air, but the idea is the same. It is a space of rest, a space of potential. The universe is not a noisy, chaotic place. For the most part, it is profoundly, majestically, and peacefully silent. The drama is visual. The story is written in light and gravity. The soundtrack is the one we create in our own minds. Let this cosmic quiet settle over you now. Let it soothe the internal noise. There is no sound you need to listen for, no message you need to decode from the void. The pressure to hear, to understand, to respond, it can all fade away, dissipated into the infinite vacuum. You are floating in a sea of silence, both in this room and in the cosmos. It is not an emptiness to be feared, but a peace to be embraced. Let the absolute quiet of the universe be a comfort. All is still.
All is silent.
All is at rest. Close your eyes and drift in the silent, star-dusted void. There is no sound here, only sleep. In the vast spectrum of sound, from the random rustle of leaves to the organized chaos of a city street, there exists a strange and beautiful island of order, a pattern so deliberate, so mathematically elegant, that it can bypass our conscious mind and speak directly to the soul.
This island is music.
And tonight we will gently explore its shores, not to analyze its magic away, but to appreciate the quiet physics and biology that make its enchantment possible. At its most fundamental level, music is nothing more than organized sound and silence. But this organization is what separates a noise from a note. It begins with rhythm, the primal heartbeat of all music. Rhythm is the pattern of time itself, divided into repeating cycles of strong and weak beats. It is the first music we ever know, the steady, comforting thump of our mother's heartbeat in the womb. This is why a slow, steady drum beat can be so calming. It echoes that first primordial rhythm, telling our deepest selves that all is well, that we are safe. Your own heartbeat, as you rest, is your body's personal, constant rhythm section. But music is more than just a pulse. It has a landscape built from notes and the relationship between them. This is the realm of melody and harmony. A single note held in the air is a lonely traveler. But when a second note is played, something magical happens. The sound waves from each note interact. Their peaks and troughs either align in a pleasing, resonant sync, or they clash in a turbulent, dissonant struggle. The simplest and most profound relationship is the octave. When one note vibrates exactly twice as fast as another, we hear them as the same note, one higher, one lower. It is a perfect, pure mirror. This 2:1 ratio is the foundation of all musical scales across nearly every human culture. It is a universal truth, written not in language, but in vibration. From this foundation, other ratios build our musical world. The ratio of 3.2 gives us the perfect fifth, a strong, stable, and open sound that feels like coming home. The ratio of 4.3 gives us the perfect fourth, a slightly more contemplative, suspended feeling. Our major and minor scales are built from a specific sequence of these intervals. A major scale, with its specific pattern of whole and half steps, has a built-in brightness, a sense of triumph or joy. A minor scale, with a subtly different pattern, carries an innate gravity, a touch of sadness or longing. This is not a cultural accident. It is acoustical physics translated directly into human emotion. But how does this physics become feeling? The journey continues inside us. When we hear a musical note, it doesn't just activate the auditory cortex. It lights up a festival of neural activity. The rhythm is captured by the motor cortex, making us tap our feet or sway, even in our sleep. The melody is processed in the auditory regions, while harmony, the complex interplay of multiple notes, requires higher-level processing, engaging areas associated with pattern recognition and even language. And then there is the emotional crescendo. Music has a direct pathway to the brain's emotional centers, like the amygdala and the nucleus accumbens, the same reward center that is activated by food, love, and other profound pleasures. When a piece of music resolves from a tense chord to a stable one, when the chorus swells, when a melody soars to its peak, it triggers a release of dopamine. We are literally being rewarded for listening. We get chills. We feel a lump in our throat. This is the brain appreciating a beautiful pattern, a fulfilled expectation, a story told in vibrations. This is why a lullaby works. Its simple, repetitive melody, its slow, rocking rhythm, and its gentle, consonant harmonies create a pattern that is easy for the brain to predict. There are no surprises, no dissonant shocks. It is a sonic security blanket telling the limbic system that the world is orderly and safe. It is a promise, sung in the language of physics, that it is okay to let go, to rest, to sleep. So, as you lie here in the quiet, know that the power of music is not a mystery, but a magnificent collaboration. It is a collaboration between the mathematical order of the universe and the intricate wiring of the human brain, between the ratios of vibrations and the chemistry of our emotions. You don't need to hear any music now. The memory of it is enough. The structure is already a part of you. Your breathing can be your rhythm. The slow, steady rise and fall of your chest can be your melody. The peaceful silence between your thoughts can be your rest. Let your mind drift through these quiet patterns. There is no need to compose, no need to analyze. Just let the simple, scientific beauty of music, a structured gift of sound in a random universe, lull you into a deep and restful state. The symphony for tonight is the sound of your own stillness.
Just listen and sleep.
In the quiet of the night, have you ever heard a sound that wasn't there? The creak of a floorboard in an empty house. The distant murmur of a voice just as you're drifting off. We often dismiss these as tricks of the mind, and in a way they are, but they are not signs of a failing mind. They are glimpses into its brilliant, creative, and sometimes over-eager machinery. Tonight we explore the gentle, dreamlike world of auditory illusions, where what you hear is not a fact of the world, but a story told by your brain. Our hearing is not a perfect microphone, faithfully recording the world. It is an active, creative interpreter. It takes the incomplete, messy data from our ears and weaves it into a coherent narrative. And sometimes, in the silence or with certain patterns, it begins to tell itself stories. It fills in the blanks with its own expectations, creating sounds out of silence and melodies out of noise. One of the most beautiful of these illusions is known as the shepherd tone. Imagine a note that seems to be forever rising in pitch, climbing an infinite staircase to nowhere. It creates a sense of eternal, unresolved ascent, a sonic M.C. Escher drawing. How is this possible? The sound is actually a clever superposition of multiple notes, an octave apart. As the higher-pitched notes fade out and the lower-pitched ones fade in, your brain has no anchor, no top or bottom to latch onto. It simply perceives an endless climb. It is the sound of a journey without a destination, a gentle, hypnotic paradox that can lull the mind into a trance. Then there are the illusions that show us how deeply sight and sound are intertwined. Close your eyes and imagine someone saying ba, ba, ba. Now imagine watching a video of a person mouthing the sound fa, 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 bo. But the audio you hear is still ba, 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 do. What do you perceive? Astonishingly, most people will hear fr. This is the McGurk effect. Your brain is so desperate for a single, unified reality that it takes the visual cue and overrides the auditory one, creating a brand new sound that exists only in the space between your ears. It shows that we do not hear just with our ears, but with our eyes, our expectations, our entire being. Perhaps the most relevant illusion for a night like this is one you can create yourself. In a quiet room, play a constant, low-level white noise, the sound of a fan or static. Before long, you might start to hear things within it. Distant music, choral singing, even your name being called. This is audio pareidolia, the auditory version of seeing faces in clouds. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine, hardwired to find meaning in randomness. In the absence of clear signals, it rummages through its library of memories and sounds, trying to match the noise to something familiar. The silence becomes a canvas, and your mind becomes the painter. It is not a hallucination. It is creativity. It is the sound of your brain dreaming while you're still awake. These illusions reveal a profound truth. The world we perceive is a carefully constructed model built by our brain. It is a best guess. When the input is ambiguous, the brain makes a choice. It smooths over the gaps, it connects the dots, and it presents to us a reality that is stable, coherent, and makes sense. So if you hear a strange sound in the night, or if a melody seems to twist in an impossible way, there is no need for alarm. It is not the world being strange. It is your mind being brilliant. It is the same machinery that allows you to hear a friend's voice in a crowded, noisy room, or to understand a sentence, even when a word is mumbled. This same powerful creativity is what gives you your dreams. As you lie here in the growing silence, your brain may already be beginning its work. The quiet hum of the air conditioner might start to shape itself into a distant ocean. The rustle of your sheets might become the sound of leaves. Do not fight it. Welcome it. It is your mind beginning to relax its rigid grip on reality, softening the edges and preparing for the ultimate illusion, the world of dreams. The illusions are not a breakdown of perception, but a gentle handover from waking to sleeping. Let your brain play its gentle tricks. Let the sounds morph and melt. There is no true sound you must hold on to. No reality you must faithfully record. You can surrender to the beautiful, creative, and sometimes wonderfully strange interpretations of your own mind. Let the illusions be your lullaby. They are the proof that your mind is ready to dream. So close your eyes and let the true sound, the sound of silence and sleep, wash over you. Good night. We have explored the room of human hearing, with its walls at 20 and 20,000 hertz. But now let us step through the lower wall, into a realm of vibration that exists just beneath the threshold of our conscious perception. A world of immense, slow and powerful waves that we cannot hear, but that we can often feel. This is the domain of infrasound, the sound too low for human ears. Infrasound is defined as any sound wave with a frequency below 20 Hz, the official bottom of our hearing range. These are not sharp sounds, not notes or pitches as we know them. They are slow, rolling waves of pressure. They are the long, deep breaths of the planet itself. Because their wavelengths are so long, infrasound waves are incredibly persistent and can travel for thousands of miles with very little energy loss. They slip through barriers that would stop higher-pitched sounds, moving through mountains, oceans, and concrete walls as if they weren't even there. We are constantly bathed in an invisible ocean of these deep vibrations, utterly unaware of their presence. Where does this silent symphony come from? Its composers are the most powerful forces on Earth and in the sky. The deep rumble of an earthquake, generating waves that circle the globe multiple times. The slow, grinding movement of glaciers and avalanches, the powerful percussion of ocean waves crashing against distant shores, their energy pulsing through the deep earth. The barometric heartbeat of severe weather systems, tornadoes, thunderstorms, and hurricanes, all produce a powerful infrasonic signature. Even the wind, as it flows over a mountain range, can create a steady, low-frequency hum. These are not sounds in the traditional sense. They are the planet's vital signs, its deep, slow pulse, and then there are the animals. The mighty blue whale, whose mournful songs we touched upon earlier, communicates across ocean basins using infrasound. Their calls, some as low as 10 Hz, are the most powerful vocalizations made by any living creature, traveling through the dark water for thousands of miles, connecting continents in a web of deep, inaudible conversation. Elephants, too, use infrasound to communicate across the vast savanna. Their powerful rumbles, which we might feel as a vibration in the air, can travel through the ground, sensed by the sensitive feet of other elephants miles away. They live in a world of felt sound, a secret network of vibration, just beneath our feet. But what does this unseen world do to us? This is where the science becomes as fascinating as it is dreamlike. While our ears may not register these frequencies, our bodies often do. Infrasonic waves can cause vibrations in the chest, a feeling of pressure in the ears, a sense of dizziness or disorientation. They can make our eyeballs vibrate subtly, potentially causing visual distortions. This has led scientists to explore one of the most intriguing ideas about infrasound, its link to feelings of awe, unease, and even the paranormal. Certain frequencies, around 19 Hz, have been found to resonate with the human eyeball, potentially causing people to see moving shapes in their peripheral vision. This same frequency is produced by wind blowing around old buildings and cemeteries. Is it possible that some ghostly sightings are, in fact, a physiological response to an inaudible sound? That the feeling of a presence in a room is the subconscious perception of a powerful, low-frequency wave? It is a haunting and beautiful thought that our deepest, most primal fears and feelings of awe might be triggered not by what we hear, but by what we feel the world is saying, yet, for all its potential to unsettle, infrasound is fundamentally a natural grounding force. It is the rhythm of the planet itself. It is the deep, calming resonance you might feel standing at the edge of the ocean or in the silent heart of a great forest. That sense of profound peace, of being connected to something vast and ancient, may very well be your body tuning into this deep, silent frequency. So as you lie here in the quiet of your room, know that you are not in a true silence. You are being gently rocked by these deep planetary vibrations. The distant traffic, the subsonic hum of the Earth's own geological activity, the pressure changes in the atmosphere, they are all creating a tapestry of infrasound that cradles you. You do not need to hear it to be comforted by it. It is the base note of the world, the foundational rhythm upon which all other sounds are built. It is the sound of stability, of immense, slow power. Let your body tune in to this deep vibration. Let your breathing slow to match this grand, leisurely rhythm. Feel yourself as part of this immense, silent pulse. There is no need to listen for it. You are already within it. It is the deep, resonant lullaby of the planet itself, and it is singing you to sleep. Let the waves of silence, both heard and unheard, carry you down into a deep and peaceful rest. Good night. Having drifted through the profound depths of infrasound, let us now turn our attention to the opposite end of the spectrum. Let us step through the upper wall of our hearing into a realm of frantic, silent vibration.
A world of pitches so high, so swift, that they exist as a secret language, a hidden tool, and a private sense for many of Earth's creatures.
This is the world of ultrasound, the sound too high for human ears. Ultrasound is defined as any sound wave with a frequency above 20,000 Hz, the upper limit of our human perception. Where infrasound waves are long, lazy rolls, ultrasonic waves are rapid, tight, and precise. They are the tiny, meticulous brushes of the acoustic world, capable of painting pictures in the dark. The most famous masters of this high-frequency realm are bats. On a moonless night, as we see only darkness, a bat sees a world of exquisite detail, painted not with light, but with sound. It emits a rapid series of ultrasonic clicks far too high-pitched for us to hear. These clicks, some reaching over 100,000 Hz, fly out into the night. When they strike a fluttering moth or a delicate twig, they bounce back as an echo. The bat's sophisticated brain processes the timing, direction, and subtle change in frequency of each returning echo. From this, it constructs a three-dimensional soundscape so precise it can navigate through a dense forest at full speed and pluck a single insect out of the air. This is echolocation, a biological sonar, a way of seeing with sound in a palette of frequencies entirely hidden from us, but bats are not alone. Dolphins and toothed whales also live in this ultrasonic world, using it to navigate the murky depths of the ocean to find prey buried in the sand, and to communicate with complex bursts of high-pitched clicks and whistles. For them, the ocean is not a silent place. It is a vibrant, echoing chamber of detailed information, a constant stream of silent conversation and perception. Inspired by nature, we have learned to harness this silent power. The most beautiful application is in the world of medicine. An ultrasound scanner does not use harmful radiation. It uses sound. A transducer placed against the skin sends pulses of high-frequency sound in the millions of hertz into the body. As these waves travel through different tissues, soft organ, dense bone, fluid-filled space, they bounce back at different rates. A computer listens to these returning echoes and, much like the brain of a bat, uses them to paint a real-time, moving picture of the world within. This is how a mother can first see the flickering heartbeat of her unborn child. It is a silent, safe conversation of sound waves, allowing us to witness the miracle of life growing in the sacred darkness of the womb. Ultrasound allows us to see tendons, blood flow, and the valves of a beating heart, all with the gentle, invisible touch of sound. It is a technology that listens to the hidden music of the body and translates it into a lullaby of images. Its uses extend beyond medicine. Engineers use ultrasound to peer inside solid metal, searching for microscopic cracks and flaws in welds or airplane wings, ensuring our safety. Cleaners use the aggressive, microscopic bubbling caused by ultrasonic waves to scrub delicate objects like jewelry and surgical instruments with a gentleness that human hands could never achieve. It is a silent, thorough, and powerful cleaning, a sonic storm on a miniature scale. This world of ultrasound reminds us that reality is layered. What is silence to us is a bustling, information-rich city to a bat. What is an impenetrable surface to our eyes is a transparent window to an ultrasound machine. Our perception is not the definition of reality. It is merely our own unique biological slice of it. And as you lie here in the quiet, know that this high-frequency world is all around you. The secret echolocation calls of bats outside your window are bouncing off the glass. The vibrations that clean and probe and image are humming silently all over the world, but you are blessedly insulated from it. Your hearing has evolved for the sounds of life on a human scale, for conversation, for music, for the warning crack of a twig. The frantic, high-pitched world of ultrasound is a whisper you were never meant to hear, and its absence from your perception is a gift. It allows your mind to settle, to focus on the slower, more grounding rhythms of your own body. So let the silence you perceive be a comfort. It is a filtered silence, a curated peace. All the frantic, high-frequency energy of the world is being held at bay, leaving you with only the deep, calming frequencies of rest. Let your mind become as still and quiet as the ultrasonic pulses that probe the depths. There is no need for such high-frequency thoughts tonight. No detailed analysis, no frantic mental calculations. Let your thoughts slow to a deep, resonant, and peaceful rhythm. The secret, high-pitched world is taking care of itself. You can simply let it go and drift into the soft, silent embrace of sleep. Good night. In the world of sound, most journeys are one-way trips. A voice leaves your lips and travels out, fading into the distance, never to return. But sometimes, under the right conditions, a sound makes a round trip. It travels out into the world, and the world, in its own time, sends a piece of it back to you. This returning traveler, this auditory ghost, is an echo, and tonight we'll explore its gentle, patient mystery. An echo is, at its heart, a simple act of reflection. Just as light bounces off a mirror, sound bounces off a surface. When you shout towards a distant canyon wall, the energy of your voice travels through the air as a pressure wave. When this wave meets the immense, unyielding face of the rock, it cannot be absorbed. It turns around and begins the journey back to you. It is a boomerang made of vibration, but for this ghost to be born, the geometry must be just right. The surface must be large enough and hard enough to reflect the sound effectively.
A soft, forested hillside will swallow a shout, muffling it in a blanket of leaves and earth.
But a smooth, vast cliff face acts as a perfect sonic mirror, and you must be far enough away. The sound needs time to travel out and back. If you are too close, the returning sound arrives so quickly that it simply blends with your original voice, reinforcing it, a phenomenon known as reverberation. But with sufficient distance, about 56 feet or more, the delay becomes long enough for your brain to perceive the reflected sound as a distinct, separate event, a copy of your voice returning from a journey. This delay is the soul of the echo. It is a little pocket of time made audible. In that gap between your call and its answer, a moment of silence is created, filled with anticipation. It is a conversation with the landscape itself, a proof that you are in a vast space, that the world is listening, and that it is willing to reply. We find these sonic reflections in the grandest of nature's architecture, in the deep, narrow canyons where a single note can bounce back and forth, decaying slowly into a whisper, in vast, empty caves where the drip of water becomes a percussive symphony of overlapping returns, across a wide, still lake where sound can skim over the water and bounce off a far shore. The most powerful echo ever recorded is said to be in a Scottish oil storage tank, where a pistol shot reverberated for an astonishing 112 seconds. Imagine that, a single, sharp sound, stretching out into a slow, fading rumble for nearly 2 minutes, a ghost refusing to die. But echoes are more than just acoustic curiosities. They are tools. For centuries, sailors in foggy conditions would sound a horn or a bell, timing the echo to gauge their distance from a hidden cliff, a silent lighthouse made of sound. Bats and dolphins, as we've learned, have turned this principle into a complete sensory world, echolocation. They live in a constant, silent dialogue with their environment, reading the returning echoes to paint a picture of the world. There is a deep, almost philosophical poetry to the echo. It is a metaphor for memory.
A voice from the past returning to us, slightly fainter, slightly changed by the distance it has travelled.
It is a reminder that our actions, our words, ripple out into the world and can sometimes return to us, transformed by time and space. And as you lie here in the quiet of your room, you are surrounded by echoes, even if you cannot hear them. Your quiet breath, the rustle of the sheets, these sounds are reflecting off the walls, the ceiling, the floor. They are creating a complex, microscopic web of reverberations that gives your room its unique acoustic character, its own subtle sense of space. It is a gentle, constant echo that is so immediate, so seamless, that your brain stitches it all together into a single, cohesive experience of here. But now it is time to let the echoes fade. There is no need to send out any more calls into the night, no need to wait for a reply. Let your mind become like a soft, sound-absorbing chamber. Let your thoughts land without bouncing back. Let the endless internal chatter quiet until there is no original sound and therefore
no echo. The greatest peace is found when the call ceases,
and the need for an answer dissolves into silence. So let your last thought be a whisper that does not return. Let it travel out into the vast, dark canyon of sleep, and do not wait for it to come back.
Release it.
Let it go, and in the beautiful, profound silence that follows, you will find your rest. The echoes have all faded. The world is still.
And you are sleeping. Good night.
We have spent our journey together following sounds, their travels, their reflections, their highs and lows. But now let us turn our attention to the absence of it all. Let us explore the nature of silence itself. Not just the common quiet of a library or a late-night street, but the profound, absolute silence found in the quietest places on Earth. These are places so still they can change your perception of sound and of yourself. First, there is the silence we build. In laboratories around the world, there exist rooms designed to be acoustically perfect voids. They are called anechoic chambers. The name itself means without echo. Step inside one, and the door seals behind you with a heavy, final thud. And then a sensation unlike any other. The walls, ceiling, and floor are covered in massive wedge-shaped foam fibers. These are not to absorb sound in the way a pillow does, but to eliminate the very possibility of reflection. When a sound wave hits them, it penetrates the labyrinth of fibers, bouncing around until all its energy is dissipated as minuscule amounts of heat.
There is no echo, no reverberation, no bounce. In such a room, you hear something unsettling at first, the sound of your own body.
The rush of blood becomes a river in your ears. The soft creak of your joints echoes through your skeleton. The faint, high-pitched hum of your nervous system itself can sometimes be perceived. In the deepest anechoic chambers, like the one at Orfield Laboratories in Minnesota, the background noise is measured at 24.9 decibels. That is below the theoretical threshold of human hearing. In this engineered silence, you do not hear the world. You hear the machinery of your own life. It is a humbling, intimate, and deeply personal experience. But then there is the silence that nature creates.
Vast, open, and full of a different kind of presence.
Imagine standing in a deep, snow-covered forest during a heavy snowfall. The snow acts as a natural sound-absorbent blanket, muffling the world into a soft hush. Or picture the vast, arid stretches of the desert just before dawn. No insects, no wind, no birds, just the immense, dry quiet of an ancient landscape. Or the depths of a remote cave where the weight of the rock above swallows all vibration from the world above, leaving only the slow, patient drip of water. Each drop a seismic event in the stillness. These natural silences are not empty. They are pregnant with a subtle, textured quiet. They are not the void of the anechoic chamber, but a fullness of minimalism. In these places, the absence of human noise is what feels most profound. It is the sound of the planet just being itself. There is a crucial difference between these two profound silences. The anechoic chamber is an absence. It removes all external sound, turning your perception inward. The great natural silences are a presence. They are not devoid of sound, but filled with subtle, soft, and non-threatening ones that blend into a harmonious whole. One is a laboratory, the other a sanctuary. Yet in both, a common experience can occur. For some, absolute silence is not peaceful, but unnerving. Our brains are prediction engines, constantly anticipating the sounds of our environment. When that input is removed, the brain can become confused, even anxious. It may start to generate its own sounds. Tinnitus, or the perception of a high-pitched ring, can become pronounced. This reveals a beautiful truth. Silence is not just an external condition, but an internal one. True quiet is not just the cessation of noise, but the settling of the mind's need to listen for it. As you lie there seeking rest, you are likely in a space that is neither a perfect void nor a vast desert. You are in a room with its own gentle ambience. The goal is not to achieve an impossible absolute silence, but to find the quality of silence that allows your mind to stop its vigilant listening. So let the gentle sounds of your room become your own natural silence. The soft hum of electronics, the distant muffled sounds from outside. Do not fight them.
Accept them.
Let them be the equivalent of the soft desert wind or the gentle pressure of the deep ocean. They are the sounds of the world being alive, and you, safe within it. You do not need an anechoic chamber to find peace. You can create an anechoic chamber within your own mind. Let the wedges of your attention soften, absorbing the echoes of the day's worries. Let the reflections of anxious thoughts dissipate into nothingness. until all that is left is the gentle, internal hum of your own existence. Your breath, your heartbeat, that is the quietest place on earth. It is not a location on a map, but a state of being. It is the silence you cultivate inside when you finally let go of the need to hear anything at all. So let the world fade into a soft, featureless quiet. Let your mind become an open, peaceful plain under a vast, silent sky. There's nothing to listen for,
Nothing to anticipate, just
the beautiful, endless, welcoming silence of sleep. Good night. We have spent our time in the realms of whispers, of gentle waves, and of profound silence. But the world of sound has another, more formidable face. A domain of sheer, unimaginable power where sound ceases to be a signal or a melody and becomes a physical, destructive force. Tonight, we will approach this boundary with reverence, exploring the loudest sounds on earth, not to disturb your peace, but to make the quiet you now inhabit feel all the more precious and safe. Let us begin with the loudest sound in recorded human history. It did not come from a weapon or a machine, but from the earth itself. On the morning of August 27, 1883, the volcanic island of Krakatoa in Indonesia tore itself apart in a cataclysmic eruption. The explosion was so violent that it generated a sound pressure wave of almost incomprehensible power. The sound itself was measured at over 310 decibels. To understand this, consider that a rocket launch at close range is around 180 decibels, a level that can cause instant permanent hearing loss. The Krakatoa eruption was orders of magnitude louder. It was heard nearly 3,000 miles away across the Indian Ocean. To the people on the island of Rodriguez, that's like someone in New York hearing a sound from London. They reported it as the distant boom of cannon fire. For those within 100 miles, the sound was not something they simply heard. It was a physical event. It ruptured eardrums instantly. The pressure wave itself circled the globe, not once, not twice, but 3 times, recorded by barographs everywhere. The sound itself was a force of geology, but nature holds other, deeper roars. The impact of the Chicxulub asteroid 66 million years ago, which ended the age of the dinosaurs, would have generated a sound beyond any living creature's capacity to comprehend. It would have been a brief, global, deafening scream of atmospheric compression,
followed by a world of fire and eventually a terrible,
lasting silence. In the modern era, we have created our own titans of noise. The detonation of the largest thermonuclear weapon ever tested, the Soviet Tsar bomber, in 1961, produced a sound that could be heard over 500 miles away. The shockwave, a solid wall of compressed air, circled the Earth 3 times. But even this, the pinnacle of mankind's destructive power, was likely quieter than the raw planetary fury of Krakatoa. These sounds exist at the very edge of what is physically possible in our atmosphere.
around 194 decibels, something fundamental changes.
Sound waves can no longer propagate cleanly. The low-pressure part of the wave becomes a perfect vacuum, and the wave essentially shreds itself in the air. Beyond this point, what you have is no longer sound as we understand it, but a destructive shock wave, a sonic boom made permanent. These events are not heard so much as survived. There are other, more persistent loud sounds.
A volcanic eruption like Krakatoa is a brief, apocalyptic event.
But the continuous sustained roar of a large rocket engine, like the Saturn V moon rocket, produces sound energy so intense that it must be diverted by enormous water deluge systems to prevent the sound waves from tearing the launch vehicle itself apart. The sound is a tangible enemy, a vibration that can shake metal to pieces. It is important to remember that these sounds are not music.
They are not communication.
They are violence. They represent a release of energy so sudden and so vast that the very air cannot contain it. They are the opposite of the lullaby, the antithesis of the whisper. And that is why the quiet of your room is so profound.
As you lie here, listening to the gentle sound of your own breathing, You are as far removed from that realm of sonic violence as it is possible to be.
The peace you feel is not an absence. It is a sanctuary. It is a testament to the stability of your world in this moment. The loudest sounds remind us of the power of the planet and the potential for chaos. But the quiet we cultivate allows for life, for thought, for rest, and for dreams. The chaos of Krakatoa eventually settled. The dust cleared, and life slowly returned to the islands. Silence always reclaims the world. So, let the memory of these immense sounds serve as a deep, resonant contrast to the peace you hold now. Let the knowledge of such power make your quiet corner of the world feel all the more safe, all the more gentle. There is no shockwave here, no earth-shattering roar. There is only the soft support of your bed, the gentle rhythm of your heart, and the quiet, welcoming darkness. The loudest sounds on earth are a distant echo. They are a reminder of power, but you are in a place of peace. Let that peace settle deep within you, a quiet so strong it can soothe even the memory of noise. Close your eyes. The world is quiet. You are safe.
And you can rest.
We have explored the soundscapes of land and air, the silent void of space, and the engineered quiet of chambers. But now let us sink into the planet's greatest reservoir of sound, a world where sound is not just a way to communicate, but the very fabric of perception, a world of pressure, darkness, and astonishing clarity. Let us descend into the deep ocean. The first thing to understand is that the ocean is not a silent world. It is, in many ways, louder than the world above the waves, and it is a world where the rules of sound are transformed. Remember, sound travels faster and farther in water than in air. A sound that would be a faint whisper in the atmosphere can become a roaring train in the deep. This is because water is denser than air. Its molecules are packed tightly together, allowing the energy of a vibration to pass from one to the next with incredible efficiency. A sound wave in the ocean moves at about 1,180 meters per second, over 4 times faster than in air. But its journey is not a simple one. The ocean is not a uniform pool. It is a layered, dynamic medium with changing temperatures and pressures that bend and channel sound in extraordinary ways. As we sink beneath the surface, the pressure increases with every meter. This increasing pressure has a curious effect. It makes the water slightly more dense and slightly more elastic, which allows sound to travel even faster. But temperature also plays a role. The sun warms the surface, creating a warm layer. Below that lies a gradient of cooling water known as the thermocline. Sound waves, like light rays, refract. They bend. They bend towards the layer where sound travels slowest. This creates a natural channel, a sonic highway in the ocean. This highway has a name, the SOFAR channel, the sound fixing and ranging channel. It is a horizontal layer, typically around 1,000 meters deep, where the combination of pressure and temperature creates a zone of minimum sound speed. Sound waves generated within this channel become trapped. They cannot easily escape upwards or downwards. Instead, they refract back into the channel, guided for thousands of miles with very little energy loss. It is within this channel that the great leviathans of the deep hold their conversations. The song of the blue whale, a low-frequency pulse as deep as 10 Hz, is perfectly designed for the SOFAR channel. Its mournful, powerful calls can spiral through this underwater waveguide for thousands of miles, connecting populations across entire ocean basins. A whale singing off the coast of Bermuda can, in theory, be heard by another whale near Iceland. They live in a world of continent-spanning acoustics, a social network built not on light or sight, but on deep, resonant vibration. But this miraculous clarity is also a vulnerability. Human noise now floods these deep-sea channels. The low-frequency drone of massive container ships, the intense pulses of air guns used in seismic surveys for oil and gas, the sonar pings from naval vessels, These sounds propagate through the SOFAR channel with the same efficiency as a whale's song. They create a relentless, low-frequency fog of noise that can mask the calls of marine life, disrupting their communication, their navigation, and their ability to find food. The ocean's greatest gift to sound has become a curse for its native inhabitants. The ocean is also full of its own mysterious natural sounds. The chorus of snapping shrimp, which creates a pervasive crackling static in warmer coastal waters, a sound like frying bacon. The eerie, metallic groans of icebergs carving and scraping against the seafloor. The low, rumbling tremors of undersea earthquakes and volcanoes. There is the legendary bloop, a powerful, ultra-low frequency sound detected in 1997 that was eventually attributed to the cracking of a massive iceberg, but for years sparked the imagination with thoughts of unknown sea creatures. As you lie in the silence of your room, try to imagine this hidden world of sound. A world where light fails after the first few hundred meters, but where sound creates a vast, immersive, and detailed picture of the environment. A world where creatures see with their ears, and where a single voice can be heard across a continent of water. And now let the properties of this deep ocean guide you into rest. Let your mind feel the pressure of the deep, a comforting weight that pushes away surface worries. Let your thoughts be channeled like sound in the SOFAR channel, away from distractions and into a single, peaceful stream of consciousness. The chaotic noise of the day, the ship traffic of your thoughts, can now fade into a distant, muffled hum. You are sinking below it all into a deeper, quieter layer of your own mind. A layer where the only sounds are the fundamental, slow rhythms of your own being. The deep ocean is a place of immense peace, held in a dark, quiet embrace. You can borrow that peace now. You are safe in the depths, cradled by silence and rocked by the slow, patient currents of sleep. Let the world above become a distant memory. There is only the deep, the dark, and the quiet. Let go and descend into rest. Of all the sounds in the world, there is one that is uniquely ours, a sound that can convey not just information, but love, comfort, fear, and joy. It is the sound that soothes a crying infant, that shares a secret, that speaks our name. It is the human voice. And as we drift towards sleep, let's explore the quiet miracle of its creation and perception, a symphony conducted within our own bodies. The journey of the voice begins not in the throat, but in the gentle rhythmic act of breathing. It starts with a quiet intention in the mind, a thought waiting to be born into the air. This intention travels down neural pathways to command the diaphragm, a great domed muscle beneath your lungs. It contracts, pulling air into your body. This air is the fuel, the wind for the instrument that is you. The airstream flows upward through the bronchi and trachea until it reaches the gateway to the voice, the larynx, or what we often call the voice box. Suspended in your throat, the larynx is a complex structure of cartilage and muscle, and within it, stretched horizontally from front to back, are your vocal cords, or, more accurately, your vocal folds. These are not cords like guitar strings, but rather two delicate shelves of tissue.
Layered and incredibly flexible, in silence they are held apart,
forming a V-shaped opening that allows breath to pass through freely. But when you decide to speak, or sing, or hum, muscles pull them together. Now, the exhaled air from your lungs meets a closed gate. Pressure builds beneath them until it forces them apart for a split second, releasing a tiny puff of air. But their elasticity immediately snaps them shut again, only for the pressure to build and push them apart once more. This cycle repeats itself with astonishing speed, hundreds of times per second for a high note, around 100 times for a low one. This rapid, rhythmic opening and closing chops the smooth airstream into a series of tiny puffs of air. This is phonation, This is the raw, fundamental sound of your voice, a quiet, buzzing whisper, born from the vibration of your own flesh. But this buzz is not yet your voice. It is only the seed. This sound now travels upward into the resonant chambers of your throat, your mouth, and your nasal passages. Here, the true magic of shaping occurs. Your tongue arches and darts. Your lips form rounds and spreads. Your soft palate lifts and lowers. These movements constantly change the size and shape of these chambers, amplifying certain frequencies in the buzz and dampening others. By sculpting the airspace, you form the buzz into distinct vowels and consonants. The difference between an R and an E is the shape of your mouth. The difference between a P and a B is a fleeting moment of silence and a burst of air. Your voice is a wind instrument that you reshape with every syllable, and then this now unique sound is released into the world, a personalized pressure wave traveling through the air to reach another. But the journey is only half complete. It must be perceived. The sound wave enters the listener's ear, setting in motion the magnificent chain we've explored before. The vibrating eardrum, the dancing bones, the fluid waves in the cochlea, and the thousands of hair cells translating the vibration into electrical signals. But the brain's work is the most profound part. The auditory cortex doesn't just decode pitch and volume. It performs a breathtaking feat of pattern recognition. It analyzes the complex harmonics, the formants that give your voice its unique timbre. It compares this pattern against a lifetime of memories. In a fraction of a second, it can identify the speaker. That is my mother.
That is my friend.
It decodes the emotional prosody, the subtle rises and falls in pitch and rhythm that tell you if the speaker is happy, sad, or tired, regardless of the words they use. The brain hears the person in the sound. This is why a mother's lullaby is the most powerful sleep aid in the world. The infant doesn't just hear a melody, it hears a specific, recognizable and safe presence. The sound of that voice is neurologically linked to comfort, warmth and nourishment. It is a biological signal that says all is well. You are protected. You can rest. As you lie here now, you can feel this entire system beginning to slow. The breath that fuels your voice is becoming deeper and more regular. The delicate vocal folds within your larynx are at rest, no longer shaping thoughts into words. The complex musculature of your tongue and jaw is softening. There is no need for a voice now. No need to speak or to be spoken to. The day's conversations are over. The internal monologue can quiet. The instrument can rest. Let your breathing be a quiet lullaby for your own body. The gentle inhale, the soft exhale. This is the wind of your voice now playing its simplest, most peaceful song, the song of stillness. Your voice has carried you through the day. It has connected you, expressed you, and navigated your world.
Its work is done.
Now it is time for the deep, restorative silence that allows the instrument to heal and renew itself for the day to come. So, release the need for words. Release the sound of your own thoughts. Let the inner voice grow quiet until all that is left is the peaceful,
wordless awareness of simply being. The most comforting voice you can hear tonight is the silent one within,
telling you it is time to sleep. Listen to it now, and let yourself drift into a deep, silent, and restorative peace. We have journeyed together through the physics of sound, through its travel in water and air, and through the miracle of the human voice. But now we arrive at the most personal and immediate connection, the relationship between sound and the very state you are trying to attain. The sound of sleep itself, not a single sound, but a dialogue between the quieting world and the quieting mind. As you begin to drift from wakefulness into sleep, your brain undergoes a profound shift in its electrical activity. The busy, chaotic beta waves of daytime thought begin to slow into the calmer, more rhythmic alpha waves of relaxation. This is the gateway, and sound is the usher at the door. In this twilight state, your brain becomes a different kind of listener.
It does not shut down.
Instead, it becomes a vigilant guardian, monitoring the auditory environment for potential threats while allowing the safe, predictable sounds to become part of the tapestry of dreams. This is why a sudden, unexpected noise, a door slamming, a glass breaking, can jolt you awake, while the continuous, predictable hum of a fan can lull you deeper. Your thalamus, a structure deep in your brain, acts as a gatekeeper, filtering sensory information. As sleep deepens, this gate narrows, but it never fully closes. This is where the gentle power of consistent, low-level sound reveals itself. A steady, monotonous sound like white noise, pink noise, or the sound of rain creates what is known as an acoustic mask. It doesn't block out other sounds so much as it smooths them over. By providing a constant, predictable auditory input, it reduces the contrast between silence and a sudden noise. A creak in the floorboards is much less likely to trigger an alarm in your brain if it's nestled within a blanket of steady, soothing static. It is a sonic security blanket telling your subconscious guard dog that all is well, that the landscape is stable, and that it too can stand down and rest. But sound does not just protect sleep. It can also shape its very architecture. Gentle, low-frequency sounds played in sync with the slow oscillations of deep sleep have been shown in studies to enhance the quality of that sleep. It's a phenomenon called acoustic stimulation. By gently nudging the brain with a soft, resonant pulse at the right moment, we can potentially help it consolidate memories and sink into a more restorative, slow-wave state. It is like a gentle push on a swing, helping it to go just a little bit higher, a little bit deeper. And then there are dreams. The world of dreams is not silent. It is a world built from the scraps of our waking senses, and sound is one of its primary architects. A sound in your real environment can be seamlessly woven into the narrative of your dream. The ringing of an alarm clock becomes a fire bell in a dream street. The sound of a partner's voice from another room becomes a character speaking to you in your dream. Your brain is a masterful storyteller, taking the raw, ambiguous data from your ears and crafting a story to explain it, all while you rest. This is the ultimate demonstration that we do not hear with our ears alone, but with our brains. Even when the conscious, analytical part is offline, the creative, interpretive part is wide awake, listening to the world and spinning it into gold. As you lie here now, listening to the sound of my voice, you are already in this transitional state. The gate is beginning to close. The sounds of the outside world are becoming more distant, their edges softened. This voice is not meant to keep you awake, but to be the final, gentle guide, a predictable, rhythmic, and non-threatening sound that reassures your subconscious that it is safe to let go. Let the words themselves lose their meaning. Let them become mere sounds like the patter of rain or the rush of a distant stream. There is no information here you need to hold on to, no concept you need to understand. Simply let the cadence of the speech be a steady rhythm for your breathing. Let the silences between the words be the space into which your awareness dissolves. Your brain is ready. The thalamus is narrowing its gate. The slow waves are beginning to rise from the deep. The sounds of the day are receding, and the sound of sleep, the gentle internal hum of your own restorative processes, is taking over. This is the sound we have been searching for all along. Not a sound you can hear with your ears, but one you feel with your entire being. It is the sound of silence within the body, the sound of healing, the sound of rest. Let go of the effort to listen. Let go of the world of sound and sink now into the deep, quiet, and welcoming silence of sleep. Of all the powers of sound, perhaps the most magical is its ability to be a key. A key that can unlock a door you didn't even know was closed, revealing a room from your past preserved in perfect detail. This is the power of sound, to trigger memory and nostalgia, a gentle time machine that operates not on physics but on emotion and neural pathways. It begins with a fragment, a few notes of a forgotten song from a summer long ago, the specific rhythm of rain on a tin roof from your childhood home, the distant mournful whistle of a train that used to pass by your grandparents' house. In an instant, you are no longer lying in your bed. You are transported. You don't just remember the event. For a fleeting moment, you are there. You feel the sun, you smell the air, you feel the feelings. This is the Proustian effect, but for the ears, why is sound such a potent trigger? The answer is woven into the very architecture of your brain. When a sound enters your ear and is processed by your auditory cortex, it doesn't live in isolation. It has a direct and powerful neural highway to your hippocampus, the brain's central librarian for long-term memory,
And your amygdala, the seat of emotion. Unlike the visual system,
which is highly analytical, the processing of sound, especially music and ambient noise, is deeply tied to our emotional state. When you experience something significant, the soundscape of that moment, the background music, the laughter, the specific quality of the wind, is bundled together with the emotions and the events themselves. They are encoded as a single, rich memory packet. Years later, when you hear that same sound, it doesn't just remind you of the past. It reactivates a part of the original neural network. It's like a switch turning on the lights in a room that has been dark for decades. The memory feels vivid and immediate because, in a way, your brain is reliving it. Consider the unique power of music. A song from your teenage years can instantly bring back the dizzying intensity of a first crush, the bittersweet ache of graduation, or the uncomplicated joy of a drive with friends. The melody and lyrics are the scaffolding upon which you hung your own life story. Music provides the emotional score to the film of our lives, and hearing it again is like watching the most poignant scenes. But it's not just music. It's the mundane sounds, too, that hold the deepest magic. The sound of a particular car engine that reminds you of your father coming home from work. The crinkle of a specific candy wrapper that takes you back to your grandmother's kitchen. The way a screen door slams, a sound that is the very essence of a childhood summer. These are the sounds that were the backdrop of your life, the unnoticed soundtrack that, in hindsight, was everything. These auditory memories are not perfect recordings. They are impressions, feelings, ghosts. They are fuzzy around the edges and colored by emotion. But this is what makes them so beautiful. They are not cold facts. They are the emotional truth of our past. They are the sound of who we used to be. As you lie here in the quiet, your own mind is a vast library of these sonic memories. A library that is usually closed for the night. But as you drift towards sleep, the doors may begin to creak open. A fragment of a forgotten lullaby might surface. The memory of a comforting voice might whisper at the edge of your consciousness. This is your mind unwinding, sifting through the archives of your life, looking for feelings of safety and comfort to wrap around you like a blanket. So tonight, rather than fighting the thoughts of the past, welcome them. If a memory surfaces prompted by the quiet or by the sound of this voice, do not push it away. Greet it. Let it play out like a short silent film. Acknowledge the feeling it brings, the warmth, the nostalgia, the peace. And then, like a gentle wave, let it recede back into the vast ocean of your mind. These sounds of memory are not here to keep you awake. They are proof of a life lived. They are the echoes of love, of joy, of a past that has led you to this moment of rest. They are the most personal lullaby you will ever know. So let the sound of this voice now become a part of that tapestry. Let it be a gentle, present tense sound that tells your mind it is safe to remember and safe to forget. Safe to wander the halls of memory and safe to return to the quiet of the now. There is no need to search for any specific memory. Just rest in the knowledge that they are all there, a beautiful, silent symphony of your life. Now let the memories soften. Let the sounds of the past fade into a gentle hum. The past has been honored. Its work is done. All that is left is the present moment. This room, this breath, this quiet, and the gentle, soundless pull of a deep and peaceful sleep. From the quiet corridors of memory, we now return to the present, to the soundscape that defines modern life for so many. The city. It is a world not of gentle breezes and rustling leaves, but of engines, sirens, and the constant hum of human endeavor. The urban soundscape is a complex symphony, or to a weary mind, a cacophony. Tonight, let's listen to the city not as a nuisance, but as a force of nature in its own right, and find the path to rest within its rhythm. A city never sleeps, and therefore it is never truly silent. Its sound is built on layers. The low, pervasive foundation is the hum of infrastructure, the electrical buzz of streetlights, the rumble of subterranean trains, the HVAC systems breathing for entire skyscrapers. Upon this foundation rests the rhythmic layer of traffic, the steady swish of tires on asphalt, the pulsed beat of a car's bass from a stoplight, the groaning sigh of a bus braking, and then the staccato, unpredictable accents, the sharp bleat of a horn, the distant wail of a siren slicing through the night, the clatter of a garbage truck. This is noise pollution. It is more than just an annoyance. It is a constant, low-grade stressor for the nervous system. Our ancient brains, wired to interpret loud and sudden noises as threats, are perpetually placed on alert in the urban environment. The blare of a car horn triggers a tiny jolt of adrenaline. The unpredictable nature of the sounds prevents our minds from fully relaxing, as the auditory gatekeeper in our thalamus must remain partially open, ever vigilant. We measure this sound in decibels. A quiet library is around 30 dB, a normal conversation 60 dB, but a city street can easily reach 70 to 80 dB, and a subway train can roar past at 100 dB, a level where sustained exposure can cause hearing damage. This constant auditory assault can elevate cortisol levels, increase blood pressure, and fragment sleep, leaving us feeling exhausted even after a full night in bed. But within this chaos, there is a strange and powerful order. The urban soundscape is the sound of human connection, of shared existence. The distant murmur of voices from a sidewalk cafe is the sound of community. The rhythmic rumble of a train is the sound of a city moving, breathing, living. It is the sound of collective life, a reminder that you are not alone, that you are part of a vast, intricate organism. And, just as we learn to find peace in the deep ocean, we can learn to find peace in the urban ocean. The key is not to fight the noise, but to change our relationship with it. The first step is to move from hearing to listening. Instead of perceiving the sirens and engines as aggressive intrusions, try for a moment to hear them as simple phenomena. The siren is a wave of pitch sliding through the air. The traffic is a steady, powerful river of sound energy. By stripping away the emotional label of annoyance, we can reduce its power to trigger a stress response. The second step is the principle of sound masking. We can use a constant, predictable sound to smooth over the unpredictable ones. This is the modern equivalent of the babbling brook or the rustling forest. A white noise machine, a fan, or a recording of steady rain creates a blanket of sound. Within this blanket, the sharp, intrusive noises of the city lose their contrast. They are absorbed, softened, and made less jarring. The sonic blanket tells your brain's gatekeeper that the environment is stable, allowing it to relax its vigilance. Cities themselves are beginning to understand this. The field of acoustic ecology is leading to new urban designs. Softer, sound-absorbing materials on buildings, the strategic placement of green walls and parks that act as natural sound buffers, and regulations on nighttime noise are all acknowledgements that the health of a city is measured not just in its economic output, but in the quality of its silence as you lie in your room. Perhaps in an apartment surrounded by the sounds of the city, listen to them now without resistance. Acknowledge the hum of the refrigerator, as your personal indoor infrastructure. Hear the distant traffic not as a disruption, but as the city's slow exhalation. Let the occasional siren be a reminder that help is moving swiftly through the night, a sound of safety, not fear. You are in your own personal habitat, a nest within the great humming hive. The sounds outside are the proof of life continuing. They are the modern-day crickets and owls, the wind in the electronic trees. Now let your breath become the most important sound in the room. Let it be a wave that rises and falls, steady and predictable. Let it be the constant rhythm that masks the irregular rhythms of the city. With every exhale, imagine you are releasing the tension that each external sound creates. You are not at the mercy of the noise. You are the calm at its center. The city will sing its song all night long, but you do not need to sing along. You can simply listen from a place of deep and detached peace until the sounds blur together, losing all meaning, and become nothing more than a distant, gentle roar, a lullaby for the modern world, rocking you gently to sleep. The city is alive, and you within it are safe and you are resting. Let its rhythm become the background for your dreams. We have listened to the hum of cities and the quiet of chambers, but now let us tune our ears to the oldest conversations on earth. Long before human words shaped the air, the world was already full of meaning, transmitted through chirps, rumbles, clicks, and songs. This is the sound of animals, a complex, layered language of survival, community, and connection that we are only beginning to understand. Imagine standing in a forest at dawn. The first sound you hear is not a random noise, it is a statement. A bird's song is a detailed announcement. It declares, "This territory is mine." It calls, "I am strong and healthy, a suitable mate." It warns, "A predator is near." Each trill, each whistle, is a word in a language of life and death. The dawn chorus is not a chaotic noise. It is a carefully orchestrated event, with different species singing in their assigned frequency bands and time slots, so their vital messages are not drowned out. It is a parliament of sound, a daily reaffirmation of the world's order. But the language of animals extends far beyond the songs of birds. It operates on frequencies we cannot perceive in mediums we can barely navigate. We have already met the masters of the deep, the whales. Their low-frequency groans and pulses are the slow, patient novels of the ocean. A humpback whale's song can last for hours, a complex, evolving composition that is passed across entire ocean basins, changing subtly with each season. It is one of the most elaborate acoustic displays in the animal kingdom, a mysterious epic whose full purpose we can only wonder at. Beneath our feet, in a realm of vibration, elephants hold their counsel. Their powerful, infrasonic rumbles, too low for our ears to hear, travel for miles through the solid ground. They sense these vibrations through their sensitive feet, receiving messages about distant waterholes, potential mates, or looming danger. A family of elephants can be spread across a vast landscape, yet remain in constant silent contact. Their conversations a tremor in the earth, a secret network of feeling and information. In the dark of night, bats paint the world with sound. Their constant, high-frequency clicks are a form of active seeing. They build a three-dimensional sonic map of their environment from the returning echoes, detecting a moth not only by its location, but by the subtle flutter of its wings. For a bat, the world is not seen, it is heard. It is a landscape of reflected sound, a reality constructed from returning whispers. And then there are the smaller, more intimate conversations. The rhythmic chirping of crickets, a synchronized chorus that defines a summer night. The precise, rattling alarm call of a squirrel, warning its kin of a passing hawk. The complex grammatical structure of prairie dog calls, which can describe not just the type of predator, hawk, coyote, human, but its size, shape, color, and speed. What is most beautiful about these sounds is their pure intention.
An animal's voice is never wasted.
It is never used for gossip or pretense. It is a tool for survival, for finding a mate, for raising young, for staying connected to the family group. It is sound in its most essential, honest form. A cry of alarm is pure fear. A mother's call to her offspring is pure care. A mating song is pure, unfiltered hope. These voices form a global symphony, an interconnected web of sound that has been playing for millions of years. Scientists call this the biophony, the collective sound of all living organisms in a given habitat. Each sound has its place, its niche, like an instrument in an orchestra. When one voice falls silent, the entire composition changes, becoming poorer, less resilient. As you lie in the quiet of your room, try to imagine this symphony continuing outside. In a field, a frog calls out. In a tree, an owl hoots softly. In the soil, unseen insects chatter and pulse. This is the planet's true soundtrack, a constant, gentle hum of life speaking to life. You are a part of this too. Your voice, for all its complexity, belongs to this family of sounds. The instinct to call out when you are afraid, to hum a lullaby to soothe, to laugh with joy, these are the same ancient biological impulses that guide the whale and the songbird. So tonight, let the knowledge of these ancient conversations soothe you. The world is not silent. It is full of voices, each telling its own story, each playing its part in a great, living tapestry of sound. There is no need for you to speak, no need to add your own voice to the chorus tonight. You can simply listen in your mind to this peaceful, natural symphony. Let your breathing fall into rhythm with this imagined, natural world. Let your heartbeat become the steady, quiet drum in this global orchestra. The animals are speaking. The earth is humming and you are safe, cradled in the sound of a living world. Let their distant, gentle conversations be the last thing you hear before you drift into a deep and natural sleep. We have listened to the hum of the earth, a deep and grounding vibration. But now let us cast our senses further, beyond the sky, into the apparent perfect silence of space. We know that in that vacuum there is no sound as we understand it. But what if we could listen with different ears? What if we could hear the light itself?
This is not a fantasy.
Scientists have given us a way to hear the cosmos. Through a process called data sonification, they translate the electromagnetic whispers of the universe, the radio waves, the X-rays, the gamma rays, into frequencies that our ears can perceive. They are not creating fictional soundtracks. They are transcribing the universe's own music, written in a language of light and particle, into a language of vibration and air. They are giving a voice to the silent drama of the cosmos. Imagine a pulsar, a rapidly spinning neutron star, the dense corpse of a giant sun. It does not shine with steady light, but spins like a lighthouse beam, emitting a powerful pulse of radiation with every rotation. Some spin hundreds of times per second. To our eyes, it is a flickering point of light, but when its radio waves are sonified, it becomes a steady, rhythmic beat, a cosmic metronome, ticking with a precision that rivals our most accurate atomic clocks. It is the heartbeat of a dead star, a persistent, rhythmic pulse in the dark, a drum keeping time for the galaxy. Now let your imagination drift to the planet Jupiter. Its colossal magnetic field is a vast, chaotic shield, constantly bombarded by the solar wind. This interaction creates immense, swirling storms of radiation. When the Voyager and Juno spacecraft recorded these radio emissions and scientists shifted them into our hearing range, Jupiter revealed its voice. It is not a melody, but a dynamic, eerie, and powerful symphony. You hear sweeping waves of energy, clicks and pops from charged particles, and deep, shifting drones.
It is the sound of a giant, a roaring, churning presence, singing a complex and stormy song to its circling moons. But perhaps the oldest sound we can perceive is the one that comes from the very beginning.
The cosmic microwave background radiation is the faint, leftover heat from the Big Bang. It is a snapshot of the infant universe, a fossil imprinted on the fabric of space-time. When this map of subtle temperature fluctuations, the seeds of all future galaxies, is translated into sound, we hear a deep, resonant, and complex chord. It is a low, primordial hum, the fundamental note of the cosmos. It is the echo of creation itself, the first vibration, the baseline of existence, still resonating nearly 14 billion years later. We can also listen to the violent collisions of the universe. When two black holes spiral into each other, they do not crash with a sound we can hear. But they do something even more incredible. They ripple the very fabric of space-time, creating gravitational waves. The LIGO Observatory detected these waves, and by shifting their frequency into the audible range, we can hear the chirp of this cosmic catastrophe. It begins as a low rumble, quickly rising in pitch and amplitude to a sudden brilliant climax before fading back into silence. It is the sound of two incomprehensible masses becoming one, a fleeting, monumental song of merger and transformation. What is the purpose of this? It is more than just a scientific curiosity. It is a new form of perception. Our ears are exquisitely tuned to detect patterns, rhythms, and harmonies that our eyes might miss in a graph or a dataset. By listening to the cosmos, astronomers can sometimes hear subtleties in the data that lead to new discoveries. But more profoundly, it connects us to the universe on an emotional, almost spiritual level. The cosmos is not a silent, static picture. It is a dynamic, vibrating, and resonant system. It is music, just played in a register far beyond our biological limits. As you lie here in the quiet, let this idea settle over you. The great silence of the night sky is an illusion. It is filled with a grand, silent opera. Stars are singing in frequencies of light. Nebulae are swirling in harmonic clouds of gas. Galaxies are spinning in slow, majestic chords. You are not separate from this. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of those long-dead stars. You are, in a very real sense, a part of this cosmic symphony. Your existence is a note in its endless song. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, you do not drift into silence. You drift into the grandest composition of all. Let the imagined sounds of pulsars and primordial light become your lullaby. There is no need to understand the physics. Just feel the awe. Feel the immense, beautiful, and humming aliveness of the universe. The cosmos is not a cold, empty void.
It is a cathedral vibration.
And you have a seat inside. Close your eyes, listen with your mind, and let the music of the spheres carry you gently into your dreams. We have journeyed together to the depths of the ocean and the farthest reaches of the cosmos, listening to the sounds of the external world. But now, we turn to the most intimate and mysterious soundscape of all, the one inside our own heads. This is the sound of the mind, a realm where the brain can become both the composer and the listener, creating its own symphony of silence, memory, and sometimes phantom vibrations. For many, the sound of the mind is not silent. In the quiet, a different sound emerges. A high-pitched ring, a steady hiss, a low buzz or rhythmic pulse that has no external source. This is tinnitus. It is not a sound wave in the air. It is a ghost, a perception of sound generated entirely within the intricate wiring of the auditory system. What creates this ghost? Often it is not an ear problem, but a brain problem. Imagine the auditory pathway as a busy neural highway carrying signals from the ear to the brain. When the ear is damaged by loud noise, by age, by an infection, the flow of data from the outside world is reduced. The highway falls quiet, but the brain, a relentless prediction engine that craves input, does not like this silence. So, its central auditory processing centers become hyperactive. They turn up their own internal gain, amplifying the background neural static that was always there, but once ignored. They are, in effect, listening to the sound of their own listening. The brain, searching for a signal in the silence, mistakenly finds one in its own noise. But the mind's sound is not limited to tinnitus. In the twilight state between wakefulness and sleep, you might have heard your name being called, or a fragment of music, or a doorbell that never rang. These are hypnagogic auditory hallucinations, and they are surprisingly common. As the brain disengages from the external world, its control over its own internal narrative softens. Random neural firings, memory fragments, and imagined sounds can bubble up into consciousness, perceived with the same vivid reality as a true noise. It is not a sign of madness, but of a creative, dreaming brain beginning to stir before the body is fully asleep. This reveals a profound truth. Hearing is not a passive recording. It is an active construction. Your brain does not simply receive sound, it generates your experience of it. It uses past experiences, memories, and expectations to predict and shape what you hear. When the external input is ambiguous or absent, the brain fills in the blanks with its own best guess. Sometimes that guess is a ringing, sometimes it's a forgotten song. Sometimes, in the deep silence, it's the sound of a voice you have been longing to hear. So, if you hear a ringing in the silence tonight, you are not alone. It is not a danger. It is your brain, being a little too diligent, a little too eager to find patterns where none exist.
It is the sound of your own aliveness, your nervous system's hum misinterpreted. The struggle comes when we fight it.
When we tense up, when we become anxious, when we listen for the ring, we feed the very neural circuits that are creating it. We send a signal back to the brain that this internal noise is important, worthy of attention and fear, and the brain, obligingly, turns up the volume. The path to peace, then, is not to fight the silence, but to make peace with the sound. It is to change your relationship with the ghost. Instead of an enemy to be feared, see it as a neutral companion, a sign that your brain is active, vigilant, and alive. It is the sound of your own life force, your biological electricity. As you lie here now, if you perceive that internal sound, do not resist it. Do not try to push it away.
Acknowledge it.
Say to yourself, there it is. The sound of my own nervous system. Observe it with detached curiosity. Is it high or low?
Steady or pulsating?
By observing it without judgment, you strip it of its emotional power. You tell your brain it is not a threat, and then gently, softly, bring your attention to your breath. Let the sound of the mind become the background, and let the feeling of the breath become the foreground. The breath is real. It is tangible. It is happening now. The ringing is a story your brain is telling. You do not have to believe it. Let the phantom sound become just another part of the night's ambience, no more significant than the sound of the wind or the hum of a distant appliance. Let it blend into the tapestry of quiet. Your mind is a beautiful, powerful, and sometimes noisy instrument. It composes symphonies from memory and dream. Tonight, grant it the grace to be quiet. You are not your tinnitus. You are not your hallucinations. You are the silent awareness that observes it all. The most profound sound is not the absence of noise, but the peace that can exist alongside it. Let the internal sounds drift.
Let them fade into the background.
They are just thoughts, just sensations passing through the vast, silent sky of your mind. There is a deep, wordless quiet beneath it all, a quiet that needs no hearing, a quiet that simply is. Sink into that quiet now. Let it hold you and sleep. Good night.